And from your perspective, would a 600,000 troop limit and a frozen front line simply invite Russia to attack again?
Yes, in the long term, you can't do that. You can't accept that. Essentially, if you do that, you're in the hands of the very people that haven't supported you fully for the last 3 or 4 years. That can't happen. The only thing that's stopping Russia from moving any further into Ukraine is the military. You can't trust, as I alluded to before, that America or Europe are going to really fundamentally stick to those security guarantees. I mean, they would be doing it now with the Budapest Memorandum if they were going to do it, and they didn't do it then. And in fact, you know, America have extracted from that. They supply NATO with weapons. They don't supply Ukraine directly. We've had Trump hold, even before he was a president, you know, held back artillery shells and weapons. You know, this is an administration that doesn't particularly like Ukraine.
Yeah. So basically, what we're going to see if we're going to accept it. So the weaker Ukraine, the stronger Russia, which almost a guarantee that we're going to see a next war in a few years.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that he will regroup, reorganise. Even if there is a peace plan, he's, you know, clandestine units will still work to try and undermine and try and you know, overthrow the government in Ukraine. It's, you know, he isn't scared of NATO to a point. He doesn't want to get in a direct conflict with NATO. But I'm pretty sure that, you know, he pushes the boundaries with, you know, Article 5 flying drones into Poland. Recently, they've just attacked the railways in Poland. I'm pretty sure that that won't stop. That'll increase. So ceasefire, there's not going to be a ceasefire. Even if there's a ceasefire, there won't be. He'll still keep pushing, testing, and then he'll rebuild his forces and then and give it another push, you know, a few years. I mean, one of the things that really was quite repugnant was the amnesty for war crimes. I mean, that is just horrendous. That really made me feel quite sick when I read that. These guys that tortured me, tortured my colleagues, execute soldiers, torture civilians, stolen children, want an amnesty. And that was one of the points. And I was just thinking, this is just wrong. And, you know, and Trump supported it, which I think is really, truly disgusting.
Yes. I just saw in the morning a picture of a Ukrainian man who was waiting in Ternopil for his dead wife and 2 kids just to take out from the rebels. And they were laying down and you know, the savers, they just could not find them for 2 days. So the thing is, I was like, yeah, I was thinking the same. It just...
I never thought in my lifetime I would see in America really do that. And I think one of the things that I tried to allude to was that Ukrainians are so polite. They now bracket them as the Biden lot, you know, the Trump administration. And when things go right, they call it America. So, you know, it's like 3 different versions of America at the moment, which isn't a good thing for America. You know, that's not a good position to be in where, you know, people don't want to offend you and are now splitting your country down into three parts.
I saw a picture, actually, also on the internet today, which shows that Russia doesn't want peace, it wants a piece of Ukraine.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, Shaun, regarding your latest, very interesting and insightful article about Pokrovsk. In your piece, you compare Pokrovsk to Hougoumont, a small point on the map, you know, that end up shaping the whole battle. Why do you believe Pokrovsk has become that kind of a pressure point in this war in Ukraine?
Well, Hougoumont was a farmhouse, a significant point on a map that held back Napoleon's imperialist dreams. He lost the Battle of Waterloo. It was really a comparison I made because I'd been to Pokrovsk a year ago this month, and really the Russians were 8 kilometres away from the city. So fast forward to 12 months later, they've only covered 8 kilometres to get into the city. I wanted to draw people to the realism of how long Pokrovsk has been holding. I mean, it was July last year. I believe that the offensive started on Pokrovsk. He wanted to take it by November last year. When I was there, they said it wouldn't hold. Christmas last year, it wouldn't hold. 12 months later, it's still here. It's drawing in Russian troops, a considerable amount of Russian troops. And still, even after Putin's press conference saying he'd encircled Pokrovsk, it was over, we're just mopping up, they still haven't taken it. So, you know, I've been in a pocket, I've been in Mariupol where we had a 200-kilometre encirclement. It's very hard to know that nobody's coming for you, and you have to get up every break you have to get your guys motivated to still keep fighting even though nobody's coming for you. Eventually, you know, you can't instruct people to do that. That's driven by a want for the greater good. People want to defend because they know that if Pokrovsk falls and they fall back, it's going to be another town, another city that takes the Russian assault. So people want to hold. And if it's successful, putting my military head on, if it's successful and it's killing enough Russians, more so than Ukrainians, then essentially it should be kept open for as long as possible if it's achieving its goals. The problem comes if it's not achieving its goals, then you've got to start asking questions about the leadership. Why haven't we pulled back? Why haven't we moved back to areas that would be more strategically beneficial for us? So I can't answer that. The Ukrainian military and the headshed in the HQ and they probably know better than me whether that's still effective. Pokrovsk is still effective.
Yeah, because despite the fact that the city doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it's in ruins.
No, it's not. It's a position on a map now. I mean, it's the crossroads. The Russians will build the rail links again if they are successful in taking it. They will build the transit routes. But generally, it's not going to change the face of the war. It's not going to be an ultimate collapse because behind it are second, third, fourth lines. If Russia do take the cross, they have to do the whole thing again. And they've already lost 1.1 million soldiers. So they're going to have to push on. And, has Putin got enough room to maybe lose another million soldiers, sustain another million casualties over the next 2 or 3 years? Has he? I don't know. Everyone's got their limit, which is, again, I'm looking at this push for, using Trump politically to try and get land he can't take militarily because maybe he doesn't have that room. Maybe there is a lot of pressure in Russia now for him to find an alternative because the economy's teetering. I mean, even their own forecasters are doom and gloom. So, there's a lot of things in play here. It's not, I said the future may not be a battlefield win, but could be economically, it could be politically, there's a lot of other fronts being fought here where we might see the end to this war.
Yeah, you're right. And you said also that Ukraine is making Russia pay dearly for every meter, but with Ukrainian forces outnumbered 8-1 in this sector, how sustainable is this strategy?
I talked about this last week on another episode. I said before drones came about, when I was in the military, if you were an assaulting force, you could expect to lose 3 soldiers for every one of the defending force. What you've got now is the advancement of drones have probably turned that into an advancing force losing 6-1, 8-1. So essentially, it's so dangerous, the front lines now, for a soldier, especially around the area of somewhere like Pokrovsk, which is equivalent. Some of your listeners won't know East Anglia, but it's flat in England. It's a flat area with lots of ploughed fields, minimal cover, stripped woods, very similar to the country areas around Pokrovsk. Farmland, very difficult to get through when it's wet. This time of year, as winter's coming, for an aggressor army to keep moving around Pokrovsk, it's extremely hard, especially with the drones and the innovations that Ukraine's making. So essentially, what was 3-1 when I first joined the army, before phones were invented, and use mobiles, essentially now is probably an advancing army. And you can go back as far as Mariupol. When Mariupol and the 2002 invasion happened, drones were taking out important bits of equipment. They were taking out artillery pieces, vehicles. Now they're taking out people, individual people. So this is where the quantity and the amount of drones is now probably for an aggressor army, they're losing 6-8 to 1 when they go on the advance. It's very difficult terrain. So I don't think even if we pulled back from Pokrovsk, it's going to change a great deal. Russia's going to lose a hell of a lot more people over the next couple of years. It still wants to continue and push this SMO. Hopefully that makes sense.